say, Bob? Yeah. The problem with Twitter is the same problem with how easy it is to pretend you're a person on Twitter, because it's so impersonal and so little of you comes through in text that it's easy to start thinking of people like their text. It's easy to say mean things or be disrespectful or to be dismissive or to completely lack compassion.
Yes.
And as a person who's been the subject of it, it's fascinating. And my strategy has always been like, I'm just going to just not pay attention to this.
Right.
Because I don't want to argue with anybody. I genuinely try to be the best person I can be. And like all of us, I'm flawed. And I know what my intentions are, and I know how I try to go about business and life, and just I try to be as nice as possible. That's my goal. So when I see people communicating the way they're communicating on Twitter, I'm like, there is no way that syncs up with my view of the world. And I can't argue on it either. Like if you argue on Twitter, then you're synced up to this really low vibration. But now here's the problem. Occasionally, it's a resource. Occasionally, you learn some really interesting stuff.
Sure.
You see a funny meme, someone informs you about a documentary or a book that you really, you read it and like, holy shit, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Occasionally, it does that. But it also harbors so much negative thinking.
Yeah.
It's so bad for the people that are slinging that shit. You're just thinking about it all day long.
Yeah.
That's all they're thinking about. And they're engaged in like some sort of verbal battle. And the problem is I know a lot of them independently, right? So I know them outside of Twitter. And I'm talking to them and they're on medication and they're doing all kinds of weird things to deal with their anxiety. And I'm like, hey man, do you ever think part of that might be what you're in, this battleground you're engaging in, this impersonal, like emotionless battleground where it's like 70% insults? Like, what are you doing?
Dude, I saw the Dalai Lama speak in Anaheim, and one of the things...
How long ago?
Long time ago. I was on mushrooms. It was fucking crazy. But one of the things he said was... And it's weird because like this is stuff you hear. This is stuff that anyone could say, but somehow when it's coming out of the Dalai Lama, who by the way has this translator who's been with him forever, and you see those two on stage together, and then you will understand what Buddhism looks like, because it's like not serious, it's not heavy. They're like talking to each other to translate. They're laughing to each other as they're like translating. It's just so in the moment and fun, and you look at that and you're like, oh, that's not like the boring, like, no, like thing that I thought it was. This is like alive and like sweet and fun, and they're enjoying what they're doing. It's really, really cool. But one of the things that came up was this issue of, when someone insults you, when someone says something shitty to you. And I don't remember the question, but someone was asking this question, and the way the Dalai Lama put it was, they don't know you, number one, but what you're seeing is an echo. Someone did that to them. It got inside of them, and then it is echoing. It's like they're like the wall of a weird, infinite geometric cave, and this like wave of negativity is bouncing off of them, bouncing to you, and you have a choice to react to it as though it were real, and if you do, you become solid enough to bounce it onto somebody else, or realize what it is. You're just looking at an echo, and just once you realize that, you don't feel as defensive. If it's a person attacking you and you feel like I've got to defend against this person, but if you realize like really most people when they're saying shitty things to other people, they don't know that person because they don't know themselves.
Well, the problem is even if they do, like Louis C.K. said something that's really appropriate here. We were talking about it. He goes, it's just talk. He goes, it seems like it's different because it's written down, but it's just talk, which is like one of the most ultimate Louis C.K. things to say.
Yeah.
Like people have always just like said crazy shit, but it didn't necessarily mean anything. But now because it's written down, all of a sudden we think it means something, but it's basically just people talking shit, right?
Yeah.
But they're talking shit. And some people, unfortunately, it's like too much of their life. I've been around too many people where they're hanging out with you in the middle of the day and then they pull up Twitter and you see their eyes gloss over and they start arguing with someone on Twitter and then they check it every 5. Yeah. They're talking to you, but then you have to check the Twitter. I'm like, bro, this is not good for you.
It's like Paw Patrol for my toddler. My wife's been putting off Paw Patrol now for a long time. I didn't know what it was. She's like, I don't like it. She was a nanny, so she's like, I don't want to do Paw Patrol. Finally, she's like, let's just do Paw Patrol.
That's
we show him Paw
hilarious.
Patrol. Suddenly, Forrest is watching it. I'm like, hey, Forrest, you want to go feed the crows? Because in the morning we feed the crows, and he doesn't answer. He's looking, and she says to me, he's gone.
Paw Patrol.
He's in Paw Patrol now. But yeah, it is. I think that's the real tragedy. It's not so much the micro moments of feeling butthurt because someone that you will never meet decided to say the meanest thing anyone ever said to you. That sucks. But what really sucks is all those moments when you're completely glue trapped into this technological opiate and you're not interacting with people around you.
Yeah.
And then also you're carrying the weight of whatever the particular thing. Because like, my God, it's not like everyone out there is just like, there's some precise archers of pain out there. We're not talking about a shotgun
That's
scatter.
perfect.
This is not your mama jokes.
Yeah.
Like, this is like surgically designed. Like, thing.
Reddit assassins.
Right, where you're just like, dear
Yeah.
God, how do you know me so well? You're
That's so
right.
good.
I'm on fire. You got me. You got me. But see, this is the difference between those Buddhas you saw and humans. Because a human identifies that thing and, number one, pretends that it's weird that another human should have a flaw, a paradox, a fucking contradiction, that they're not perfect. And then for whatever reason, we'll also think, because you're not perfect in the specific way, I'm going to fucking do everything I can to expose and hurt you. Whereas those things that you saw, they love you anyway. They love it itself.
Yeah.
And so this is the difference between
Humans are infected by demons, is what you're trying to say.
I'm saying
Demons to keep you from loving.
yes. Well, I'd say humans are not the demons are just a confusion. It's not a demon. It's like a confusion.